So today we're going to take a look at what's going to happen if Norway tries to form an empire in the modern day. This video is going to be very unrealistic. All the events that are going to happen are purely fictional. Major alliances will be disbanded. But yeah, let's get right into the video. Now, if Norway would want to form an empire, they're going to have to go through a lot of things. Especially, they're going to have to militarize their country. Unfortunately, as of right now, they don't have a good military at all. And if they would want to expand, they're going to have to focus on their military. We're going to assume that the Norwegians now have a king, and under his command, the country of Norway is going to start to expand. In order to do that, we can see that the Norwegians are now militarizing their country, now also focusing on making a formidable navy, recruiting more and more troops. Now, after all of this militarization process, and after recruiting a lot of troops, the Norwegians are now ready for their first military campaign, for which they have a pretty sizable navy, and purely for expansion purposes, we can see that the Norwegians now declare war on Denmark. This is like a reverse World War II stuff. But okay, let's see. We can see that the Norwegians make a naval landing in the north, and they start to push around. The Danish military now gets to the front lines, trying to hold off, but as of right now, they are heavily outnumbered, and so they are being pushed back. The Norwegians make another naval landing on this island, pushing around, and eventually we can see that they took over Copenhagen and all the surrounding areas. The remaining military of Denmark surrenders as they lost their capital city. In a peace negotiation, we can see that all of Denmark got completely annexed, which technically means that, yeah, this kind of happened. This military campaign was a complete success, which now has bolstered the morale amongst the soldiers, who are now willing to fight for their country. And shout out to my king in the north, the king of all, North Mapper. Yeah, this might just be your empire. But okay, to continue their expansion, the Norwegians are still going to be militarizing their country, and we can see that a few years later, and we can see that a few decades go by, and after all this time, the Norwegians have built a very formidable navy, because that's what they're going to use for the most part. And so, to continue their expansion, we can see that they declare war on Iceland to now form this kind of a belt up in the north. So let's see. The Norwegian navy now has arrived on the coast of Iceland. They make a naval landing down here. They start to push around. Eventually, we can see that they get to the capital, taking it with relative ease. And we can see that all of the highly populated regions of Iceland are now under the Norwegian control. The remaining parts of Iceland are kind of useless, and so the remaining parts go ahead and surrender. This was a relatively easier campaign, after which Iceland got completely annexed, and another decisive victory for the Norwegian Empire. Now, because of this Norwegian expansion, their neighboring countries are also going to be militarizing their countries, because they're kind of worried. But the Norwegians are not going to stop here, as they have more countries to invade. Right after the invasion of Iceland, we can see that the Norwegians now declare war on Estonia, and it seems like they are taking over countries which have strategic locations, or they might just be forming a belt around Sweden and Finland. But okay, let's see. We can see that the Norwegians make a naval landing over here, taking out this entire area. Shout out to Zimbax. They start pushing in from here. The Estonian military is unable to push these guys back, as they are heavily outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned, out-technologied. Yeah, the capital city of Tallinn fell, after which the already demoralized Estonian army goes ahead and surrenders. Estonia got completely annexed into the Norwegian Empire. And yeah, this is what the Norwegian Empire looks like right now. They're looking pretty good, pretty buffed. But now, they're going to be militarizing even more, as they have a very major invasion coming up, where they are going to be invading a very major country, and it's going to take them a lot of time to prepare for this war. After a few decades of preparations, yeah, I'm saying decades, we can see that the Norwegians now declare war on Sweden, and things might not be looking good for Sweden. But okay, let's see. We can see that the Norwegians push in from here, securing their capital city, which is very near to the Swedish border. They also take out these two islands, and we can see that they're starting to push in from Denmark. They're securing some major regions of Sweden. Eventually, this army pushes down, meeting up with these troops, and a few days later, a combined Norwegian army now pushes up in hopes of getting to the capital city, which is kind of far away, but there is some hope. Another thing that happens is they make a naval landing up in the north, where now they start to push down. These troops now push up, and another weird thing happens, where we can see that a Norwegian army from here pushes in, and it seems like they're trying to encircle all of this region, and they do it successfully, cutting off all of these parts, which then go ahead and surrender. And eventually, after years of fighting, the Norwegians have finally taken over the capital city of Sweden, which was Stockholm. These regions were also taken, and after losing pretty much everything, the remaining parts of Sweden go ahead and surrender. This was a decisive victory for the Norwegian Empire, as they took out a very major country. A few years go by, and we can see that instead of declaring war this time, the Norwegians send out ultimatums. These ultimatums were sent to Latvia and Lithuania. Now, it's not that these guys don't want independence, but joining Norway might not be the worst thing. And plus, getting invaded by Norway is also a pretty bad thing. So yeah, all the Baltic nations are now under the Norwegian control. And would you look at that? Sometimes diplomacy works as good as wars. And because of the annexation of the Baltic nations, the Norwegians now have access to all of their military equipment without any war, so nothing has been damaged. But the Norwegians are going to continue their invasions. It's going to take them a few more years, and in these years we can see that they came up with one of the best armies that Norway has ever seen. They imported a lot of weapons from different countries, mainly talking about the United States right here, who is supporting the Norwegians' expansion for some reason. Although the Russians are not very happy about all of this expansion going on, but yeah, let's not talk about that right now. And right now what we want to talk about is the fact that the Norwegians are expanding in a very good manner. They still want these strategic locations around Europe, and they do have a formidable navy. So now we can see that they want to declare war on another country. This country is going to be Belgium. Once again, as I said, and who knows, one day even around the world maybe. So yeah, let's see. The Norwegian navy now has arrived on the coast of Belgium. They make a naval landing right here, cutting off Belgium from the sea, and they accelerate their push because they have a way better military. Eventually, after a few months of fighting, the capital city of Brussels was taken, the remaining parts of Belgium surrender, and now the Norwegians have their hands on Belgium, which is great for them. Once again, they're gonna take their time. A few years are gonna go by. We can see that the Norwegians are finally prepared for their very major war, which might not result in their victory. There are chances of them losing actually. But yeah, they declare war on Finland to unite the Nordic countries, or for expansion purposes, I guess. So let's see. We can see that the Norwegian navy now has come into action, and they've taken positions in different places right here. But before that, we can see that the Norwegians now push in from what was previously Sweden, and they push down the coast. They make a naval landing down here, securing all of this region. They make another naval landing right here. And yeah, the Finnish army is in disarray. There is a lot of confusion going on, and the army has no idea of what's going on. This army was able to cut off all the northern parts of Finland, which then had to go ahead and surrender. And just like that, the Finnish have lost 50% of their territory. The Norwegians now push down, winning decisive battles over the Finnish, which now have taken out their 1 million reserve troops. They start to push back the Norwegians. The Norwegians are still getting pushed back, but after a few months of getting pushed back, some reserve troops from Norway also arrive on the front lines. And with the arrival of these troops, the Finnish have been stalemated. More troops have arrived over here too. But yeah, with the arrival of this army, the Finnish troops are finally getting pushed back, and the 1 million reserve troops are not working anymore. The Norwegians continue their push down the coast, eventually meeting up with these troops, and a combined Norwegian army now pushes towards Helsinki. Unfortunately, the capital city of Finland fell, and with that, the remaining parts of Finland go ahead and surrender, as there was no military left to defend the country. And there we go. The Norwegians now have control over pretty much everything in the north. After all of this expansion, one country was really not happy, and that country was Russia. And unfortunately for the Norwegians here, the Russians declare war on Norway, and things are not looking great for the Norwegian Empire. Russia declares war on the Norwegian Empire, but it is October, literally the month I'm making this video. But yeah, it's October and winter is coming. We can see that the Russians now push into the Norwegian Empire, and they're pushing into Finland. And as they continue their push... Whoa, what's happening to me? Something is wrong. Yo, what the hell? Wait, when did this happen? Wait a second. This is not possible. Did I sleep through all of the winter? Did all of this happen back in December? And what is it now? Wait, what? Is this March? Oh, damn. Okay, actually speaking, this is the only way that the Norwegians can win this war, and we wanted them to win. Wow, the Norwegians have a lot right now. This is the Norwegian Empire at its peak. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you guys want to see in the future. Goodbye.